I want to talk to you about the latest Navy Fed pledge loan hacks that you really need to adapt after all the things that happened last year with the lawsuits and everything. And one thing I want to say here is that they have completely revamped their pledge loan process after the lawsuits. And so here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. So when you think about the Navy Fed pledge loan, I want you to really think about the fact that you have a constellation of loans, but what we want to focus on is the pledge loan in the sense that you want to use your savings account or let's say your certificate to sort of back up or collateralize, if you will, a loan from Navy Fed. Now, this process works fantastically because you have the ability to actually raise your credit score real fast, to also raise your Navy Fed internal score real fast. And in the past, Navy Fed was actually making it a little complicated to have the pledge loan. This year, they have completely revamped the process. It's a lot easier to actually apply for a Navy Fed pledge loan. As you can see on the screen here, the certificate pledge loans are actually you have a diverse array of loans. So you have 3, 6, 9 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months. We advise all our viewers to have a layered approach when it comes to the Navy Fed pledge loans, especially after the new process was implemented last month. So basically, a layered approach means that you are having multiple pledge loans all at once. You can have one 3 months, one 6 months, one 9 months, one 12 months, and so on and so forth. That way, you have a layered approach that helps your credit score go up a lot faster. And we're talking here about your pledge loan, which means what? All the money is backed up by your own money. In other words, the loan that you're getting from Navy Fed is actually collateralized by your own money, which means that it really helps if you have several certificates, Navy Fed certificates, and especially when you have them layered, this is pretty good. So you can see on the screen that basically when it comes to the Navy Fed pledge loan, you can do it yourself, you can do it for your family, you can do it for your household, for your friends in some cases. And the cool thing is all kinds of accounts are eligible. So we are speaking about what? We are speaking about certificates. We're speaking about savings accounts. And now there are some accounts such as custodial accounts are not eligible. Retirement accounts are not eligible, so everything about IRA, ESA, not eligible. But long story short, the process is a lot easier nowadays that it was before, and you can actually raise your credit score a lot faster and your Navy Fed internal score a lot faster by using the pledge loan. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Let me give you a few pro tips here. So basically, after the lawsuits and after everything that happened last year, Navy Fed is actually, as I said before, is completely revamping its pledge loans, which means what? It means that when you apply for a pledge loan, you have the possibility to also apply for a personal loan. And in the past, it wasn't possible to apply for both as long as as long as you're like if you have not been with the Navy Fed for 6 months, they were not allowing you to actually have this multiple loans, especially across multiple categories. You can have multiple loans within the same category, but you couldn't have multiple loans across the different categories. But nowadays, it's totally possible. So you can apply for 2, 3, 4 pledge loans and still apply for a personal loan on the side. I mean, basically, because again, when we talk about the personal loan is unsecured, and the pledge loan by definition is secured, right? Which means that the Navy Fed is actually it's pretty comfortable actually extending you this loan because you are not really increasing their exposure. Now, what I want to say here is that what's totally possible is that you can actually increase your credit score a lot faster by applying for a personal loan at the same time that you're applying for a pledge loan. Now, a personal loan, the way you want to play the game is that do not apply for a large amount. You can apply for 5,000. I mean, the maximum on Navy Fed is $50,000. So you can apply for maybe 5,000, 10,000, and maybe if you don't need the cash, you can you can put the money in an account. But the bottom line here is what? The bottom line is to actually create history in your credit. Is to create that you want to show a lender, a potential lender, that you have the ability to borrow and repay, borrow and repay, borrow and repay. That's how you establish credit, okay? And that's how you increase your credit score in the long run. So when we talk about Navy Fed personal loan, what you want to do is you want to look for a specific loan, because Navy Fed has a variety of loans, personal loans. They have a personal expense loan, they have a home improvement loan, they have debt consolidation loan, they have a savings secure loan, they have certificate secure loan. So they have all kinds of loans. So it's up to you to really find out which one applies, which one can really help your situation. What we tell our viewers and all our clients is that you can apply for any loan, but you just make sure that the loan amount is not really high. That way, you're not increasing your DU. Like you want to really make sure that your CUR and your DTI is not really increased excessively. DTI, debt to income ratio, and CUR, credit utilization ratio. That way, you can still be within a reasonable term. So, and this will help you in the long run. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about Navy Fed pledge loan, and those are new. I'm sharing with you new hacks that really came into existence after the lawsuits, the recent lawsuits, and also the revamp that happened within Navy Fed. One important hack that I want you to really think about is actually the application checklist. Okay, and this is a bonus I want to give you. So when it comes to the Navy Fed pledge loan this year, especially after everything that happened, they have actually revamped everything. So what you want to do here is that you can apply now. You can apply online, not a problem. You don't have before you had to go to a branch in certain cases to apply for a pledge loan, but nowadays you can apply online, or you can apply through the app. So you can apply right away. And the cool thing is that as long as you have the certificates set up in your account online, you can do everything online or via the app. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to actually go through the application checklist. Now the application checklist is pretty straightforward. It's an internal sort of process within Navy Fed that allows you to actually apply for the pledge loan a lot faster. So, and what we have seen here is that in the past, they used to ask for employment information. They used to ask for financial information in general. But nowadays, for the pledge loan, they're not asking anymore for your financial information. Why? Because the loan itself, as I said before, by definition, a pledge loan is a collateralized loan. So they already have the money anyway. So they are going to use your money to sort of back up the loan they're giving you anyway. So they actually have scratched, in some cases, in most cases, if you will, they have scratched the process whereby they will ask for your current employment, they'll ask for your current income, and the only thing they ask for is to make sure that you've been with Navy Fed for at least 6 months. So the history eligibility is still there. The history, the seniority eligibility is still there. So 6 months is pretty decent, and they just want to make sure that you've been around for a while before qualifying for a certificate loan. One thing, a pledge loan, that is. One thing I want to say also is that if you have any question, it's always better to contact Navy Fed directly. And the number here is 1-888-842-6328. 1-888-842-6328. One thing I want to say here is that when it comes to the application checklist, you want to do things online, or you want to do things via the app. Don't try to do it at the branch. It will take longer, especially if you are trying to have a layered pledge loan process. Let's say you want to have 3 or 4 or 5 pledge loans at the same time, to sort of really help you increase your credit score a lot faster. So the bottom line here is what the approach I want you to really pay attention to here is that after the recent events, it has gotten a lot easier to actually increase your credit score with Navy Fed pledge loans, or Navy Fed pledge like several loans or one pledge loan. The thing here is that you really need to understand it's all about planning. It's not about just saying, listen, I want to increase my Navy Fed internal score. I want to bring it as high to 450, or I want to increase my credit score to 700 or 750. It's all about planning. Planning what? Planning in terms of how much pledge loan you want to get. It's also planning in terms of what other loans outstanding you have outstanding as of right now. Because see, the thing is that when we talk about Navy Fed pledge loan, a Navy Fed pledge loan, actually, when people look at your credit score or credit history, they don't know. I mean, there is no difference whether or not the loan is collateralized or not. the loan goes against your CUR and DTI anyway. So the only thing is that internally within Navy Fed, they know there's no risk to them because this is a collateralized loan. But to an outsider, the loan still count to your DTI and CUR. So what you want to do here is that you want to really understand that planning will help you a lot, sort of determine what kind of DTI you want. Do you want to expose, quote unquote, expose to the whole world? You also need to make sure that when we talk about planning, you have to think about the best time to actually apply for a Navy Fed pledge loan because basically you have to be with Navy Fed for at least 6 months, 6 months to actually qualify for a pledge loan. In other words, after 6 months, they'll start seeing you in their system, so that allows you to really to apply faster. And planning also in terms of your financial situation. Even though Navy Fed is no longer actually asking, let's say, principally for your financial information, it really helps if you are sort of stable yourself financially speaking. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make here is that you want to make sure that you look at your payment history, you look at your income, so your cash inflows and cash outflows. So that delta between the cash inflows and the cash outflows will actually determine when is the best time to you to apply for a pledge loan, especially if you want to apply simultaneously for a personal loan. So if you remember a little earlier, I said that you could increase your credit score a lot faster and your Navy Fed internal score a lot faster by applying for a pledge loan, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 pledge loans, in addition to a regular loan. So that will be really, really helpful. But the cool thing is that the planning will also help you determine whether or not you want to actually what's the maturity you want to choose for the pledge loan. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about Navy Fed pledge loans. I'm just sharing with you the latest hacks that you need to really pay attention to after the recent lawsuits. One thing I want to tell you real quick here is that it's important to really understand that when we talk about Navy Fed pledge loans, even before, you were able to build credit with that tool because it is it is a win-win for all parties. It is a win-win for Navy Fed because they're not taking any risk. There's no exposure here. It's a win for you because you are able to get approved, not a problem. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about the Navy Fed pledge loans, we're talking about a layered approach, okay? A layered approach that allows you to actually use your own money to actually get money from Navy Fed. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about the main loan tip that you need to pay attention to after the recent events is that they are actually making everything online right now. It's just a lot easier. They do not want to actually have a sort of face-to-face sort of contact and really risk being accused of anything. So they want to really make everything electronics. One thing I want to say here is that a lot of folks go to the Navy Fed a pledge loan because they want to increase their credit score. But where the juice is really at is to increase your Navy Fed internal score too. Remember, when we talk about Navy Fed internal score, we're speaking about a maximum of 450, right? And the 450 actually is kind of important because it really puts you up there in terms of in terms of the hierarchy of pretty, I would say interesting borrowers, if you will. And so when you increase your Navy Fed internal score, the good thing is when you are increasing your Navy Fed internal score, you are directly or indirectly increasing also your credit score. So you can push your credit score to 700 or 650 or 750 that way, or even 800. That way you are able to know exactly that you're doing good. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about increasing your Navy Fed internal score, there are a couple of things that Navy Fed looks like they actually look at, and this will also help you in terms of like things like CUR, things like payment history, things like account activity, things like membership history. Those things will help you in terms of your Navy Fed internal score. They could help you also in terms of your credit score. Yeah, mind you, the membership eligibility or membership history doesn't really sort of factor into your credit score, that's for sure. But things like payment history, things like CUR, things like DTI, and so on and so forth can really help you in terms of boosting your FICO score. And when we talk about your FICO score, we are speaking directly or indirectly about your chances of getting approved for a personal loan or a credit card for that matter, business credit card, personal loan, or business loan. One thing I want to say before closing this section here is that a Navy Fed pledge loan is a good thing. It's a risk-free, if you will, risk-free sort of personal loan that allows you to actually increase your credit score a lot faster. One thing I want to say here is that it's really important to understand that when we talk about our Navy Fed pledge loan, especially after the recent events happens, a lot of folks are concerned about having multiple products. Now, having multiple products, it's not a problem. Whether you have it with Navy Fed or have it with Bank of America, have it with Chase, have it with Penn Fed, or what have you, it's not really the big problem. But the big problem here is that how you analyze your exposure, how you analyze your DTI, how you sort of prevent your DTI from going up too much, how you analyze your CUR. Those are things you need to really pay attention to, right? So when we talk about having multiple products, it's all about you actually having timing. So there are three things that you have to pay attention to when we talk about having multiple products with Navy Fed. Timing is important, your finances, and the third thing is that your membership eligibility. Okay, so when we talk about timing, you want to space out some of the applications a little bit. That would be really helpful because you want to give Navy Fed the chance to really study your application and know that you don't have too many credit products sort of lined up at the same time. So time is important. Your finances. So your finances, we're talking here about your cash inflows and cash outflows, the delta between those two. So we're speaking about your income, for instance. We're talking about all the side gigs that you have, and also your outflows. So we're speaking about your debt payments, your expenses, and so on and so forth. So that's the second thing. The third thing is we're talking about the membership eligibility. So how long you've been with Navy Fed? What kind of history do you have? Because see, the thing is, if you have been with the Navy Fed for 20 years or 10 years or 20 years, and you have been a good member, so to speak, you are good to go. But if you have been a quote unquote a bad member, let's say you've had a history of bounce checks or what have you, this could really be problematic for you. Okay, but theoretically, there is no problem of having multiple products. You can have a pledge loan, you can have a personal loan, you can have a credit card. This could help you improve your relationship with Navy Fed, not a problem. It could also help you improve your credit mix, okay? And those two things can positively impact your credit score, but also your Navy Fed internal score. In terms of deposit, if you want to open a pledge loan this year, the amounts haven't changed at all. It's still the same thing. The minimum deposit here is $250, so you need to have a $250 minimum to actually qualify for a Navy Fed a personal loan. So, but this is totally possible. And in terms of fees, Navy Fed charges a fee of 2 to 3% depending on the loan terms, ranging from $250 to $500 for a 6-month term, up to $3,001 and beyond for the 60-month term, with a 3% APR for terms up to 180 months. One thing I want to say before closing today's conversation here is that when we talk about a Navy Fed pledge loan, you need to really understand that the possibilities are endless. It's all about you actually taking advantage of the new wave of regulations, the new wave of processes internally to a Navy Fed to sort of beef up your credit score a lot faster. Okay, so getting a pledge loan with Navy Fed can actually boost your credit score, your internal profile, and also you are able to and the cool thing is you can get a Navy Fed pledge loan without a hard pull. So you're not actually risking anything. You're not risking your personal credit score at all. If you have a soft pull, this is really cool. In some cases, they don't even do pulls at all because, again, everything is collateralized. So they're not going to actually risk anything, and so they're not doing a hard pull, and they usually don't do a soft pull either. And the cool thing is, now this is not the same. This is only for pledge loans, right? But if you were to go to an unsecured personal loan, such as the one that really gives you a maximum loan amount of $50,000, you bet they are going to check your credit score. They are going to do a hard pull, and they are going to check all other things. They will be asking for things like employment information. They'll ask things about like how you make your money. And in some cases, they might ask for your tax returns also to sort of substantiate the information that you are providing on the loan application, okay? But the cool thing is, if you are able to improve your chances of approval, you are able to get a high limit credit card from Navy Fed, for instance. You can get a large amount on a personal loan. This is pretty good, and it's all about understanding that your credit score most of the time is actually determined by making payments on time, having a low credit utilization ratio, and having a variety of credit mix. This is why a Navy Fed pledge loan, especially this year, is kind of helpful because it helps you have make payments on time. You are able to have a low credit utilization ratio if you do the timing correctly. That's what I said earlier when I talked about timing. And also, you also want to make sure that you have a variety of loans. Attention, I really appreciate it. Let me do a quick recap here. So in today's conversation, I spoke to you about Navy Fed pledge loans after the recent lawsuits. And so they have introduced a new set of hacks. So I give you the overview, the pro tips, the bonus, the approach, and now the recap. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.